Okay, so in this video, I want to go over the realities of what makes men and women successful in their respective dating market, right? Um, and I think it's at some point, no matter how you explain it, especially there's a feminist around or like some guy who's trying to please women because he's trying to get respect out of women. Like, I think it's very easy to just make fun of, a guy who explains this unless he uses the example that I'm getting ready to use. And this example will destroy any feminist, any logic anywhere, right? I'm sorry, any logic to try to try to fight this argument, right? So for this experiment, I'm going to use the two valuable areas, right? We're going to use what's valuable now, which is money. We're going to use, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg. And then we're going to use bitches that aren't fat and look like they can take a bath, right? Because that's literally the equivalent of the value market of the world, right? And here's the thing. Let's just be clear. On their best day, these guys still could not truly keep up with what these women can get away with. Okay, on their best day. Let's make that completely clear. When it comes to terms of interpersonal manipulation, getting things handed to them for free, the bed will always kind of be their free bed and breakfast. I mean, the world will essentially always be their free bed and breakfast. Men can never keep up to even the most average of women with this, right? Because, like I state all the time, like, woman is essentially living on a free bed and breakfast with the illusion of struggle, right? Because that's all they know. All woman knows is struggle and challenge, right? From her perspective, but she doesn't know real struggle and challenge. I'm going to dive into this example, right? So in this example, right now, these guys are they're super rich, right? Now, these women are just women. They're AI generated women, just to be clear. But I tried to find the best women to get the point across of what I'm going to touch on. So how you can easily deduce the realities of what actually makes men valuable in dating and what actually makes women valuable in dating. Take either one of these groups, either take this one or this one, and go back. Okay, let's say both of these groups, right? The successful ones on the right versus the successful ones on the left. And I'm going to dive into the unsuccessful too, but let's start out with the successful, right? The successfuls on the left and the successfuls on the right, right? Let's say you create a time machine, right? You create a time machine and you go back 100,000 years, right? In the past, right? And both of these go back 100,000 years in the past, right? Right. What will become very clear to this group is, 100,000 years in the past, they had no use for Rolls Royces, cell phones, Gucci belts. You could bring a house built back with you, that would be okay to protect from the rain, but it's only so long before you couldn't keep that up because you don't have any plumbing or electricity going to it, right? So, 100,000 years ago, there was no use for suits. There was no use for like I said, for technology, right? There was no use for that. So Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, taking them as they are right now, right? And going in a time machine and taking them back 100,000 years, they would be useless. They would be completely useless, right? They would have to do what men always do. They have to go out, learn, adapt to the situation, figure out how to grow from nothing, and live with whatever they get to, right? And just try to always be a little better, right? See, when Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, or what's it, Jeff Bezos, let's say if you take them back 100,000 years in the past, right? See, as soon as they step out that machine, their worth is gone, right? For the most part, as soon as because see, these guys, they don't know how to hunt, or if they do know how to hunt, it's a hobby, right? They don't know how to hunt to successfully feed themselves for years on end, right? They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to weave shit. They don't know how to build much of anything. Again, if they do, it's like just a cute hobby, right? Their value was based off technology and the currency of and money. Right. So as soon as Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or Mark Zuckerberg were to step out that time machine that traveled 100,000 years in the past, their worth immediately goes down to becoming, I'd say, a 2 at best, because they're out of shape. They're not cut out for staying outside. I mean, they are a man, but their culture is just not the same. It's not cut out for that lifestyle at all. Right. As a man should be. Their value would immediately drop to I say at best a 1.5 or 2. Right. Now, on the flip side, you take these women, right? These are AI generated women, but in theory, you take an attractive woman, right? 100,000 years in the past, her value is essentially going to be about the same, right? Her value, as soon as she steps out that time machine, her value, these women's value will still be the same, right? Because what is it that men and women both offer to society in dating? Men have to offer protection, and women offer their youth and beauty for sex in exchange. That's it. If you were to strip either one of those of that, they would notice a huge decline in their possibilities in the dating market. Right. Now, with that being said, let's go. Well, we can leave this up 100,000 years. With that being said, let's say it's not these women who are roughly, let's just say it's not these women who would generally be considered a 10 out of 10, right? Let's say it was women who were let's say 6 out of 10, right? Let's say it was a group of women who were 6 out of 10s, and let's say outside of let's say it wasn't these men who were 10 out of 10s. Let's say it was men who were 6 out of 10s, right? Right? It would be the same thing. It would be the same thing. As soon as these men who were 6 out of 10s got out the time machine and they got to the year, 100,000 BC, so walking around, they would immediately plummet to a 1 or a 2. Whereas if these women were to go to the time machine and get out in 100,000 BC, they would still be women, right? Somebody still wants to hook up with a woman just because she's a woman. There doesn't have to be anything else there, right? Right. So her respective value is essentially going to stay about she's not a woman's not going to do she's not going to have to do anywhere near the same amount of work to be able to survive, right? And the reason why that is because even if she's a 6 out of 10, right, there's always going to be a dude walking around who's a 3 out of 10 who will do anything for that. Right. So he'll pick up the slack where she don't want to go out and pick berries. She don't want to go out. She don't want to cook nothing. She don't want to prepare his fucking rag that he got to wear. None of that. He'll put up with her. And this is historical fact. Whereas as let's say a man got out who was a 6 out of 10, he goes out there, he immediately drops to a 1. Counting 100,000 years ago, this man would immediately drop to becoming a 1 out of 10, right? And by the time he's dropped to this level, due to his ability to protect, There's no zeros walking around, and if a woman is now going to be a 1 out of if a woman's going to be a 1 out of 10, she's just going to go get with another caveman dude or whatever the fuck, right? And just continue her life with him. And now Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are done. Doesn't exist. Whereas these women still have the core of their existence intact of what helps them to sell.